well, good evening. I want to thank you all for coming out on a Sunday evening, and we're here to brief you on the BaldFire and the EilerFire. My name is Kathy Hardy. I'm the Public Information Officer with Northern California Team 1, and we're helping to manage this fire. We're working in consort with a CAL FIRE team that's led by Chief Zombro, and so as our IC tonight, I've asked Mike to come talk to you a little bit.
Hello everybody, I'm Kelly Zombro. I'm a Unified Incident Commander with the federal team, the California Forest Service team that's here. And my partner is Mike Minton. He's committed to other meetings, otherwise he would be here as well. So my title is Incident Commander on this, and whenever the name of the fire is, you call that person the IC for that. So if it was the Bernie fire, it would be the Bernie IC. So it seemed very appropriate that they would bring me out here as the Bald IC. Just to give you a little bit of history on this thing, obviously the fire, the first fire started, which is the Bald, on Wednesday, and it was obviously moved quite quickly. When the EilerFire picked up, hotshot crews were brought into there, as well as smoke jumpers, and tried to anchor that. And as you've watched with the California drought, the conditions that we're having, they were not able to hold that, and have been working diligently ever since then. We've got a lot of agencies involved in this. You look around the room and you just see the different fire agencies, law enforcement, and so on. Forest Service, CAL FIRE, Bureau of Land Management, Shasta, Lassen County Sheriff's Departments, CHP, Caltrans, PG&E. A lot of different agencies come together, and we work well together. It's been a very good cooperative effort to work with you folks and try to do the best we can, especially when we're very concerned about when we have people out of their homes. We want to get you home, but we want to make sure we do it when you're not going to have to leave again, for those of you who might be here that have been evacuated. Due to the complexity of having two large fires, the primary fire for us has been up until today the Eiler and the Bald, but we brought another CAL FIRE team in to take over the EilerFire to help support, so we can focus more on the BaldFire as well. So these are good things. We've also got another CAL FIRE team sitting over at the Bernie High School that's been dealing with the day fire. So there's a lot of attention going into Shasta County right now, and Lassen County. A lot of attention. The most priority fire in this region, state of California, as well as probably the United States, from what we're gathering, is these fires.
Wow.
The resources are coming from everywhere. So you'll see everything from San Diego all the way to the Oregon border here, and points due east, of course. The bottom line is, these fires have grown to the point of 20,000 acres in a day. With the drought conditions that we're dealing with, it's not going to go fast. There's a lot of work to be done. Even once we do pick this thing up, there's going to be a lot of mop up as well. But our goal is to make this as small as possible and get you folks back to normal life as quickly as we can. So we've got a lot of folks here to address you and try to give you some information specific to the incident. Ooh, there we go. And I'm going to let them have an opportunity to speak to you. So the Bald IC, out.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kelly. So the format that we're going to use tonight is we're going to throw a whole lot of information at you in a fairly quick period of time from a variety of people, and then we'll stay here as long as you want to ask us questions after we're done. So if I could ask you to hold your questions until the end, we'll get to all of them. We also want to really focus tonight's discussion on the two fires. I know there may be other topics that you'd like to bring up with some of the people in the room, but at least in the public part of the meeting, I'd ask you to keep us on topic so we can get to the questions that people want to have answered. And just if you could be considerate of the speakers and each other, that would really help us a lot too. So thank you in advance for that. Okay, the next person that I'm going to ask to talk to you is named John Wood. John is a fire behavior analyst who works with our fire team. He has a lot of in-depth knowledge about this fire, and he's going to brief you on the weather conditions, both in the last couple days and in the near future, He's going to talk about the behavior of the fire in response to those weather conditions and other factors. And then he's going to give you an update on the fire situation right now and what some of our projected actions are for the next few days. So take it away, John.
Thanks, Kathy. And thank you for having me here and giving me your time. Kathy asked me if I could do this presentation, and I was pretty excited to have the opportunity. I work for the Shasta Trinity National Forest, just west of here, so a little bit like neighbors. So, like you said, happy to be here and happy to provide some information. I want to step back a couple of days, closer to the time when the fire started. Those first few days of fire activity, we reference that kind of activity as extreme, and it's unusual. The fire behavior, right? Extreme says a lot. Large flame lengths, rapid rates of spread. The way it was burning, doesn't really lend itself to rapid or swift control. So moving forward. Part of my job is to predict how that fire behavior is going to spread across the landscape, where we can expect that fire behavior to be after a certain time period, topographic features or changes in the fuel types that might allow us to get in and work on the fire. And so that's part of my job with the team. So today we saw some moderation of that fire behavior. All right, luckily, we've got a weather system that's moving in, bringing some moist air. Unfortunately, something that's going to come along with that is some lightning, and we'll see how that develops. But something else that's going to come along with that is a good chance for precipitation. As the time period grows closer, it's supposed to start on Monday and last until Wednesday. So with each day that system gets closer, we'll have a better idea of exactly how that's going to play out as far as amounts of precipitation and specifically where that precipitation is going to occur. So we're expecting to go, like I said, from a few days ago, extreme fire behavior, large flame lengths, and a very challenging fire to deal with, to something a little more moderated, something that can be dealt with. And if everything works out just right, it's going to get some precip on it and really give us an opportunity to get in there and do some good work and get this taken care of so you folks have one less thing to worry about. The current fire situation, like I said, we had a little moderation in the fire behavior today, so that gave us an excellent opportunity to get in there and get some of that work done. We've been working hard over the last few days, really being defensive, trying to get in there, work on the structures, and doing what we can to protect folks' lives and property. Well, today, it switched. It changed in our favor. We got offensive. All right. Again, working with our partners, CAL FIRE, local government agencies, and then, like Kathy said, the folks that have come from all over to help support this incident and help us put this fire out. We were able to take some action on the old dump road specifically, get some fire going in there, and put a pretty good buffer in, something that should be easily defended or well defended when the fire does finally reach that. Adding to that, because again of the conditions that we had, they were able to utilize some of the road system that existed and cut off a few hundred acres, and we'll see again how the days develop, but that could potentially work out to be a few thousand acres saved from either the fire burning it or us needing to burn it out in defense of the fire. So over the next 2 or 3 days, we'll continue with operations like that on both fires, using existing control lines like road systems to suppress the fire. The BaldFire specifically is great country for dozers. Again, with this moderation in fire behavior, they've had great success going in there and going direct, trying to keep that fire just as small as they can. They're still going to use burning where they're forced or where they need to do it to keep folks safe, where it makes sense and where it's the good tactic and where it's smart and matches the strategy. but where they can, they're getting aggressive, they're going direct, and they're trying to keep it small. Real quick, that's pretty much what I had for you. Again, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, John. And we'll keep John around here to answer questions that you guys may have later. At this point, I'd like to introduce the Lassen County Sheriff's Captain, Kevin Jones. And he's going to give us a brief update on what's going on in Lassen County with road closures and evacuations.
We evacuated the community of Little Valley yesterday. The evacuation is still there. We are reassessing throughout the day with all the fire agencies, see when we can let people back in. We restricted traffic into Little Valley primarily because of all the apparatus we have, but it's going to be an ongoing assessment, and hopefully we'll get you back in there as soon as we can.
All right, thank you.
Good job.
Okay, and then we have from the Shasta County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Basenko.
All right.
Good evening. How's everybody doing?
Okay.
Great. We have a number of evacuations that are still in place. My team members are going to give you a little briefing on that. The fire activity is still continuing in the Bernie Castle areas and also the Big Eddy Estates. Who's from Big Eddy? Quite a few of you. How about Castle? Bernie? You? JP? Few? Okay. Roads closed. I know you can't get here. On our evacuations, we rely heavily on our deputies that are on duty at the time and our dedicated volunteers of our search and rescue teams to come out and give that notification. When we do evacuations, we do not take that lightly. We work very closely with the fire personnel on what is happening with the fire behavior, where it's traveling, and what needs to be evacuated. We know it's an inconvenience, but we do it for your safety and for safety of the fire personnel. These roads aren't real wide here, and the fire trucks and other apparatus are real wide, and so we don't want to have people panicking, blocking the roadway for a fire truck or a dozer, semi, and then get clogged up, and then somebody get killed with fire overrunning. This was a very fast-moving fire with the amount of fuels that it had. California Highway Patrol assists us with roadblocks. They're going to speak briefly on that as well, where they currently are in place. We also are helped by our Department of Public Works on staff to roadblocks 24/7. When we do an evacuation, we also have roving patrols that are left in the evacuated area patrolling 24/7, because we know some people don't leave, and then some people, being criminals, want to take advantage of that and steal things. And so we keep roving patrols out there. If for some reason you have animals that get left behind, they need to be fed, or maybe a pet that can get picked up, we have our animal control people here to assist with that. Sometimes we can go back in and get those things. Also, if they're large animals, the fire personnel, if they're out about and have a minute, or they're near your house, maybe they're doing structure protection, they see an animal there, they can see some hay out for a horse or a cow, chickens. Also, if the water's working, they can fill up the trough. They do that quite often. They care about animals as well. If there's something bigger that we need to have done, then we can work with our animal personnel. We had to get somebody back in today that had to turn on a large amount of water for like 300 head of cows. That's a little bit more than the fire personnel can do, and so we got that person back in to take care of that. We want to maintain your safety, and then we work again with the fire personnel for repopulation. So then as soon as the smoke dies down and you don't see the flames, that doesn't mean that it's safe to go back in. We work with them closely to determine, are there snags that are going to fall across the roadway? We have to inspect the roadways to make sure those are safe. And then the infrastructure, with also our partners from Pacific Gas and Electric here for the area, for like the power poles and the phone lines. Those sometimes are burnt, sometimes they're falling across the roadway. We have to get the wires up off the roadway, make sure they're not energized, and get those repowered up so you can have power when you return to your homes. We also do a repopulation plan, working with our fire folks on how to get people back in a order of orderly fashion. There's two types of closures that we have for the roadblocks. A soft closure, which means that residents of the area can go through the roadblock and come out. If you're a looky-loo and don't live in the area, you don't get to come in.
Good.
And then we open that back up, and eventually everybody will, and we keep that advertised through our press information officers, both through the fire side and through the sheriff's office side. This time I'd like to turn over to John Green. He's our press information officer. He'll give a little bit about the evacuations that are currently in place and still some potential for some evacuations. Sergeant Green.
Thank you.
Mr. Sheriff, good evening, folks. As I stated, I'm John Green. I'm the press information officer for the Sheriff's Office on this event, and he pretty much covered it all. The evacuations are still in effect for the following communities: Hat Creek, Castle, Big Eddy Estates, and Johnson Park. We don't have an exact number on the amount of residents that have evacuated or who stayed behind due to the vast area. But rest assured, deputies have visited every residence in those areas. And we are currently conducting patrol checks day and night. So for the folks that are evacuated in here, rest assured that we are doing our best to protect your property. And that's pretty much it. Bernie has been advised last night via press release to be ready to evacuate should the fire turn towards Bernie. And we do have plans in place to affect that evacuation process should that be necessary. Press information is put out on a regular basis. As soon as we get it, I put it out. It goes to all the press media outlets, and it's given to you folks as soon as we get it. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Good job.
Is there anybody else from the Shasta County Sheriff that want to speak? Okay, at this point I'd like to ask Chief Mike Ebrard to come up, and he's the local fire chief in this area.
Thank you very much. All right, good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Mike Ebrard. I'm the chief for CAL FIRE for the Shasta and Trinity counties. I'm also the chief of the Shasta County Fire Department. I just want to talk about when all this started, the day fire. We're going to go to that. Let you know that your firefighters from up here, they've been engaged since the day fire and have been going straight, hot and heavy since then. We obviously engaged in the EilerFire on Friday night when it came into Hat Creek. I want you to know just how proud you should be of your firefighters, of the guys from Old Station, Hat Creek, Castle, Soldier Mountain, Fall River, MacArthur, Bernie. The whole east side was there. In addition to that, you saw the mutual aid system at work. You had folks from all over the state roll in. We already had them coming to the BaldFire. We diverted quite a bit of equipment to go to that fire when it came across the road that night about 6 o'clock. They are pushing it. They're pushing it to the limit. Most of you hopefully or probably have seen the photo of the city of Reading fire engine that was burned up out there on Friday night. That was a near-death experience for people. They are pushing as hard as they can to try to help you folks and save houses wherever they can. I want to assure you of that they are giving it their all. I think it was mentioned, the incidents were being separated, so starting tomorrow we will still continue to be in unified command on both the Bald and the Eiler incidents. However, the Eiler incident, the incident base will be moving to Anderson, and then the Bald will stay up here, and we'll be running both those incidents with two different teams. A couple things that I just want to leave you guys with, questions that I've had over the last day or so. Aircraft, people will be asking, why is the aircraft not up? Well, remember, you got to have clear air to have the aircraft come in. They can't come in when it's completely smoked over. So once the winds finally picked up this afternoon, then you started seeing the aircraft come in.
Right.
It just took a little while longer. That's what the inversions do. They help us, but they hurt us because we can't get the aircraft in. Lightning. There is lightning coming, as you heard. We have extra staffing. We have more engines out of the mutual aid system coming into Shasta County to assist with this. We may get some rain out of it. We may not. The rain doesn't do much. You think, oh, a quarter or half inch sounds good.
No.
It doesn't do a darn thing. It might just let it be a sleeper for a day or two. This is extreme. This is bad. This coming, but we will be ready for it. The drought. I don't need to tell you, but the fuels are dry like we've never seen. I was talking to Joe Bruce today, who's been around here forever and a day, And he was telling me he's never seen it like this bad. And he's been around here a long time, mentioning the Scarface fire and other fires like that. It is bad. We've never seen it like this. We're not catching it at the top of the ridges like we usually do. We're not catching it at night when we usually get a break. It's not happening for us this year. It's bad, and we're dealing with that, but it's going to be a long summer. And lastly, the sheriff and I, we've been going around with some of the board of supervisors doing meetings over the last few weeks, actually, about readiness for fires. I just want to leave you with the readyforwildfire.org. It talks about our ready, set, go. Ready being do your clearance around your houses. Set, get a plan together for what you're going to do when it's time to leave. And I know you all are thinking about that right now. And go. When we tell you to go, go. We killed someone in a fire last year who didn't leave. Somebody else this year was killed on the Bully Fire 3 weeks ago because they didn't leave fast enough. Don't be that person. Listen to the sheriff's department when they tell you to go. They're not taking it lightly. Go when they tell you to, please. And be safe. And help us keep the firefighters safe by leaving. Thank you.
Okay.
Good job.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, I'd like to ask Lieutenant Foster from the CHP to come up and give us a briefing on road closures.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Lieutenant Kyle Foster from running CHP. So as the sheriff explained to you, there are several evacuations in place, and when you have evacuations, you're also going to have road closures. Earlier today, we lifted 2 of our road closures on State Route 299 that were impacting your ability to travel to State Route 89 to Black Ranch Road, and then back into the town of Bernie. We lifted those now, so there are 5 current roadblocks in place. Those are at State Route 44 and State Route 89. We're denying access onto northbound 89. We have one in effect at State Route 299 to go into Castle Road southbound. So you will not be able to access Castle from 299. And then we have another roadblock in place at State Route 299 westbound at 89. All westbound traffic is being diverted to northbound State Route 89. You can then take Clark Creek Road or Black Ranch Road and traverse back into the west side of Bernie. 299 eastbound at Black Ranch is being diverted back up again to 89. You can travel southbound at 89 back to State Route 299 eastbound. We're trying to mitigate these road closures the best we can. We understand that not only are you displaced from your homes, but we want to make sure that you're able to still travel about the community outside the evacuation zones. In the event that further evacuations are ordered, we ask that you not speed down the roadways, try to drive as safely as possible. Don't overload your vehicles. Any vehicles that could potentially break down or spill your load on the roadway can impede traffic and also can risk the lives of your neighbors and fellow community members. So please drive safe when you're out there. We have officers staffing these closures 24 hours a day, and we will continue to do so until the evacuations are lifted. Again, other than to just block the roads, we're doing it to protect you, we're doing it to protect your property, and we're doing it to make sure that no one that is not welcome in your community is going in and looting these areas while you're not there. So the Sheriff's Department has roving security patrols, and then my officers are also out there watching your community for you. Does anyone have any questions about potential roadblocks or anything else? If Bernie is evacuated, the roadblocks will be expanded. They'll go out pretty far eastbound on 299 outside of Bernie, and then we'll also potentially be blocking State Route 89. It can all change depending on where the fire goes and whether or not it's necessitated. But we'll be working hand in hand with CAL FIRE, the U.S. Forest Service, and the Sheriff's Office to get that information out to you immediately in the event that we do close any more roads, so you know what avenues are available to you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, next we have, let's see, Joe Wilson from PG&E, who's going to talk about power outages and power poles and things like that.
Thank you. I'm Joe Wilson with PG&E Governmental Relations. I wanted to give you a brief update on PG&E's response to the fires. The number one focus of PG&E is the safety of the public, our employees, and of course fire personnel. We have a number of critical assets here in the area, including hydropower generation, large gas transmission, and of course electric transmission and distribution assets. Currently, we have 41 crews working on this incident to restore and protect our infrastructure. This morning, we pre-treated 11 miles of transmission line with fire retardant solutions in an effort to minimize fire damage. We're working closely with CAL FIRE and the Forest Service to support firefighter safety. And so to do that, we've de-energized power over 5 outages to 553 customers in the Castle Pump Station area, so fire personnel can get in there and do their job safely. And finally, we have customers, relationship managers available, so if you have any questions, please see me afterwards, and we'll put you in touch with them. Thank you.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you so much. So oftentimes in these situations, many homeowners will have an emergency backup generator. And if it's not installed correctly with an automated transfer switch, sometimes the power can backfeed and it can go and basically kill one of our linemen as they go to restore. Sometimes it will also hurt or kill some of the fire personnel. So if you have a backup generator, make sure that it's installed correctly and it has a transfer switch also.
Yeah.
Good point.
Great, thank you. Next, I'd like to introduce 2 folks from the Lhasa National Forest. Dave Hayes is your new forest supervisor that some of you probably haven't even met. And then Kit Mullen is the Hat Creek District Ranger.
Good evening. I just wanted to take a moment to introduce myself. I'm Dave Hayes, Forest Supervisor for the Lhasa National Forest. I work out of headquarters in Susanville. This started a couple months ago. If folks have questions or want to introduce themselves, I'll be here at the end of the meeting, and Kit's going to provide a Forest Service update for us.
Okay.
Thank you, Dave. So, how many people have been evacuated? Yeah, me too. My house is in Castle.
Okay.
7.5 years on the job here as a Hat Creek District Ranger. And I've had a number of people who have evacuated over the years. This is my first time being evacuated in my tenure here. This is the 5th team and 4th year of fire in those 7 years. We all see a lot of fire here. You're used to seeing it on the skyline. It's a little different when it's in your backyard. You're hearing a lot of information, which is exceptional here, on the work people are doing to protect your homes, to put this fire to bed permanently. And all of the firefighters that are working to make that happen for you. But I want to recognize some other folks. There are a lot of local people who are your neighbors who are helping on this fire. Certainly there are Forest Service employees, BLM employees, and other government employees from the state as well. You've heard the thanks to the local firefighters, those volunteers, critical to what we do. But there are a lot of other resources we use to get this done that come locally. Equipment operators. You know, we're always calling on Hat Creek Construction or Oilers or some similar group who can help, who are your neighbors helping get this done. It's important to understand there is no one organization, no individual that can do this alone. This is about local resources assisting and providing information to these big teams that come in. Take a good look at these maps. This is like a military campaign. The flip side of this thing has got all of the divisions divided in it, all neatly lettered. You know why they're lettered? Because people coming from out of the area don't have time to learn the names. They rely on the local people to know where those places are and feed that information. And by setting up a system that gives them a quick way to learn what's where and how to get there as fast as possible to get the job done is how we set these things up. And that is all to make this campaign succeed in the end result of putting this fire down. There's a lot of work that gets done in preparation for this. Certainly do a lot of work on the forest, a lot of fuels work. Sometimes it works, and sometimes you get a monster like we've seen the last few days that rivers and highways aren't going to stop. They're spotting far enough that they jump them. We're building some huge cat lines in Bernie. CAL FIRE's got bulldozers going out there on the old dump road like you've never seen before. I think it's going to become the municipal airport. We're going to put a VOR out there so you can come in on instruments. That is impressive work. And I really want to thank all of you for your patience, because the feedback that I've been getting from local folks has been, although people are frustrated, nobody wants to leave their home. 8 o'clock last night, I'm throwing stuff in the back of my pickup truck, and I'm not even sure what's in the bags. You know, I mean, the neighbors are coming over asking, do we go? I'm like, did you get the call, reverse 911? I got it on my phone. Yeah, nobody wants to leave their home. But everyone is aware that all of us want to get back in our homes as soon as possible and as safely as possible. So it's important that you listen to the advice from the Sheriff's Department that you don't want to go back too early. You don't want to end up a story with Craig. Where'd he go? He's taking a videotape. You want to be patient. Take your time. Listen to the advice. And you'll go home safely. And I hope that every one of you here tonight still has a nice, comfortable, ready house to go home to. I know I'm hoping that mine will be there tomorrow. I'll be here for any questions afterward, and thank you, and take care.
Okay, last person I want to introduce to you is down there, and it's Heather Whitman. Heather is the field manager for the BLM Surprise Field Office. And did you want to talk? Or?
I was just going to, okay, after I said I wasn't going to write.
Okay.
You know, I guess as I'm listening to the other speakers and all the things that are so important for all of you to know, realize that the BLM is a relatively small landowner in this area. You know, as we look at the size of the fires, BLM, like I say, is just one piece of what's there. And so I just want to let you know that I'm here. If you have any questions about the lands that we manage, you know, please come up to me afterwards. So thanks.
Okay.
Great, thanks, Heather. Okay, so now we'll get into some questions and answers, and maybe I could have those of you that spoke today come back up here, so when we get a question, we can have you answer it and don't have to go running too far around. And Amanda's got a microphone, if it works, and she'll bring that to the people that want to ask questions so we can hear. Nope, you turned it off. So we can hear everybody that wants to talk. Okay. Okay, we'll just we'll repeat the question that people asked. So is this one working again? No. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's see. I saw a hand down there. Maybe we'll start at this end and work this way back. So, what's your question, sir? Okay, Sheriff, maybe you could answer. What was the question? Yeah, I said it was answered, and then he was asking if somebody could update us on what the status of each community is, and what was the second part? Right, how you learn when the evacuations are lifted and you can return home.
Good question. The way to learn the way the evacuations are being lifted, we, in conjunction with our fire partners, we put out press releases that'll be done through the media, so you'll see that on TV and the radio. Additionally, CHP has CAL FIRE, Shasta County Fire has a Facebook page. They post it on their Facebook page with fire updates in addition to repopulation. I have a Facebook page as well as Shasta County Sheriff. I post many of the updates on there also. The status of each one of the communities is right now
as Sergeant Green had said, we'd evacuated the small community of Castle, also the Big Eddy Estates community, and then Johnson Park. His question was, what's the status of the communities in regards to spot fire and some of the other fire behavior? And Chief, I'll give this one to you. You're the fire guy.
All right, specifically, Bernie, let's talk to Bernie. Chief Somro and I went out and watched something I never thought I'd see today, and that is that fire burning to the top of Bernie Mountain. It was burned to the top. It was a controlled fire in there. We had line in there. They talked about the dozers and stuff going in. It had been holding in there. The winds came up. That's what cleared the air, and you could see it in there, and that actually helped us push back the correct way. We wanted it to go, not towards burning. So for now, we were good. That's as of about 2 hours ago. Again, things change by the minute. We also drove down 89, came back through Castle. Did not see anything up on the Castle way over the line. We obviously fired right along Highway 89 and then started up with dozers towards Bernie Mountain from Highway 89. And that was going well and holding as of a couple hours ago. So if you guys have something different, feel free to jump in. But for now, that's what we got. And I'm listening to the radio traffic, and it's sounding good. But we've been hearing that. And things change by the minute out there. And that's what I want you to recognize. And recognize tomorrow, when the thunderstorms come over, that pushes the fire in all directions. So just remember that as we go forward. It's by no means out of the woods on that.
Across the street. So, something to keep in mind as well, one of the most difficult things that we will do, as all of us, is put out accurate information. We can always put intelligence. Intelligence is the little pieces of the puzzle. But putting out accurate information is all the pieces. You make sure they're in the right place and you put it out. If we start giving you bad information, we scare the heck out of you for nothing. Or we tell you that everything's all fine, and it's not. You can't afford to do that. Not when you're evacuating people, not when you're moving people around. We've got to do it right. And so sometimes the information is not as timely, especially in today's media world. We're used to getting the answers right now. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. It does take time for us to vet this stuff out. But please know we care. It's not a matter of not being interested in providing the information, it's making sure it's right.
Good. Great, thank you. The other place I wanted to mention that you can go for information is on a site called INCI-Web, I-N-C-I-Web, and most of the wildfires in the West, well, across the nation, post information on that site. So you just search for INCI-Web and you can find sites for both the EilerFire and the BaldFire on there. Okay, how about the top row there?
Yeah, he said it right here.
Oh, yeah. No.
Okay, she's asking, what does it mean that the EilerFire headquarters is going to move to Anderson? Kelly, do you want to take on that and talk about the team moving, the EilerFire ICP is moving down to Anderson, and what does that mean?
What we're actually looking at is we've got a fairly impacted community. Bernie High School has one fire team. MacArthur obviously has another fire team. And we got one more fire team coming in and no place to work. And that's the real simple thing. Now the easy things are, well, there's a field over here, there's a that over there. With the unstable conditions that we have, the lightning that's coming down potentially tonight or tomorrow, it's not worth the risk. The smarter thing to do is to place those that other team and those resources down in Anderson. It allows us to expand if new fires occur, so we can move around and take care of those as well. And perhaps even task like the day it's starting to turn its corner, maybe they'll be retasked. But the bottom line is we just don't have the room to put everybody in the same place. We over-impact the road structure, we over-impact everything, water systems and everything else. And so it was a decision made so that we could actually manage all of our people and take care of them.
Our goal is that we will be working hand in hand. The team up here will be working very closely with our counterparts down in Anderson, and that you should not notice any difference in how the fire is managed than it is today. Okay, yes, you.
Before I ask questions, I want to congratulate you, all the men and women that try to put fires. It's a lot of great care. So can I have some applause for you guys? My question is, how bad is it and how much is it contained?
Oh, great question. Thank you. Maybe I'll just step in and answer that one. Is that okay, Kelly? So the Eiler fire at this point is not contained at all. We're still calling it 0% contained. The BaldFire is 5% contained. We do updates twice a day at 6 o'clock in the morning and 6 o'clock in the evening. That's when we gather intelligence from the firefighters. And so those numbers will only change twice a day. So tomorrow morning, hopefully, well, actually tonight we may have an update, and then tomorrow morning, hopefully, we'll have some better numbers as far as containment, and the acreages won't be increasing quite so high. Okay, let me keep moving down the room here, and then I'll come back to this end. Anybody in the middle here have a question? Okay, how about back row there?
I understand the resources are stretched very thin, and I was up in the Big Ed area until about 3:30, 4 o'clock. I didn't see very many engines in the area. Is there enough resources to get one in our homes?
Okay, the question was that he was up in the Big Eddy area and didn't see a lot of resources, not a lot of engines up in that area. I don't know. Sombro, do you want to take that one?
Good question.
The bottom line is our resources move around. That's the easy answer. And I give you a little history. I come from San Diego. Cedar Fire, largest fire in the state's history. Cedar Fire burned San Diego in 2003. 2,300 homes lost, and about 23,000 homes within the burn pattern. We never could have put a fire engine on every house, but we moved them around. We saved most of the homes, despite the conditions. So my point is that just because you don't have an engine right now, doesn't mean you won't a little later. And it's a partnership we have with you folks. Unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't always work out, but we try hard to move those resources to where they're most needed at that time. The partnership from you is the preparation you did that gives us a better chance. So obviously that preparation of good construction, good clearing around your home, good maintenance and fire defense improvements, that's going to make the difference on your part. It gives us a chance as well.
Good.
Did that answer the question, sir?
So between
You're going to move around. There's no way we can put one on every one house and then leave it there. We can't. There's never going to be enough fire engines to do that. We've got fire engines coming from LA that are here. LA, San Diego, all over the state of California are here. In Shasta. There'll never be enough to put them on every house. They've got to be mobile.
I've done my preparation, and then most of my neighbors have too, so I want some sort of reassurance.
Myself and one of my lieutenants, we were out inspecting the fire and fire behavior at about 5 o'clock, and we were on the Castle Fall River Road and on Highway 89, just in the Hat Creek, where the creek crosses 89 there, the first part. And there was at least 25 engine apparatus that I saw doing structure protection. They were working fire near Big Eddy, in addition to the air tankers and the helicopters working. And then all of a sudden you saw about 8 engines being shifted to another part to go towards the Hat Creek area. So there was plenty of apparatus in there working those fires. And as the CAL FIRE spokesman said, they shift depending on what's happening with fire behavior and the priorities at that any given moment.
Great, yeah, and we have over 1,000 firefighters working on these 2 fires, and we're moving them back and forth as we need them. Okay, sir, you had a question?
Regarding transportation, I've heard Black Ranch has been closed, it's open. I just encourage better communication for people trying to get down the hill or people up to go early on. I don't know what John when.
Okay, so he's asking for better communication. It's been confusing to tell if Highway 299 is open or Black Ranch Road is open. Is that right?
Correct.
So right now, Black Ranch Road is open. We lifted that restriction earlier today. We had 299 shut down at Castle. We were denying all eastbound traffic, or excuse me, westbound traffic at Castle to turn around. We lifted that at about 3 o'clock this afternoon. So you can get, if you need to get from your community into Reading, you can take 299 either direction using Black Ranch Road and State Route 89 north of 299 to get to either side of the area.
And how do we find that out when it changes and should commercial vehicles go up and down?
No, commercial vehicles are not going to be able to go down Black Ranch Road. It's going to be only to local residents and other smaller type vehicles. Anytime we take a large capacity vehicle and try to take it on a county road, the risk of the vehicle overturning or what I care more about, it colliding with a smaller vehicle and causing injuries, we're restricted only to smaller type vehicles that can contain.
And I think you're keeping those updates posted on your website.
Yeah, it's going out. Again, the Sheriff's Department has that information, CAL FIRE has that information, and the CHP is updating it. Every time we make an update, it actually goes to Sacramento. Sacramento shares that with Caltrans and also shares it with the media outlets. So that information is constantly getting updated anytime we change those conditions for you.
Okay, a couple more questions down this end. How about you?
I have a fire behavior question.
Okay, a fire behavior question.
I read on the Intermountain News, or I think it was the IM News, that fire can jump up to 4 miles with a spark or whatever. And then I went out to my barn and I found these ashes that are brand new and they're the size of at least a quarter. I'm wondering if that stuff could be hot. I'm well out of the danger area, but maybe I'm not.
Okay, maybe John, you want to tackle that one? And could you repeat the question and then answer it? Or do you want me to repeat it?
Is this on? Yeah. Great. Yeah, so the question was about some of the material coming out of the smoke column and whether or not that could be hot and how far it can go. Well, I can tell you, at least for the fire activity we saw yesterday, the spots up in Castle, the farthest from the actual flaming front was about 2.4 miles, 2.5 miles. All right, so it's kind of a math problem, but we're not going to go there, all right? Heavy fuels on the ground. Just think about big logs burning, all right? It just creates a huge vacuum, sucking everything that's not nailed down, snapping trees off, breaking branches, snapping the boles of large trees, all right? That kind of power, right? The BTUs that those fuels are generating, and it just lofts whatever it has up into the air. Obviously, the heavier stuff falls out sooner, and just like you saw, the quarter-sized material can make it about 4 miles. You did have some material that made it about 2.5 miles and caused some spots out there just east of Castle. Did that get your question?
So I guess the answer is yes, that might have been able to ignite your hay, so something to be aware of. Back row.
I'd like to know what structures have been burnt.
Okay, the question is what structures have been burned. I have those numbers in my head if you'd like me to answer that, or does one of you want to talk to that? Okay, we have done a pretty good inventory of numbers of structures. At this point, we have found 8 primary residences that were burned by the fire, 20 outbuildings, and 1 commercial property.
Can you tell us where they're located?
We have had people out today re-verifying that information and making sure that we have the proper addresses and locational information before we release information to the public, because we want to be very careful that we're giving out accurate information to people, because I know how disturbing this can be to people. I'm hoping that within a couple of days we'll be able to release that information. We're working very closely with the county sheriff and other people, and as soon as we are very confident that we have accurate information, we'll release that to you. Sheriff, did you want to add anything to that? I guess, okay. Did you want to add anything to that about the releasing information on the structures burned?
That's correct. Once they get better control, as you heard there, is no control currently on the BaldFire. Once they get better control of it and they can go into the zones safely, we come in with damage assessment teams working with County Fire, CAL FIRE, and Shasta County Sheriff's Office along with the County Assessor's Office that helps us with the parcel maps and for the addresses. As you know, of course, the fire can't consume the address signs, and so sometimes we have to go by mile markers or GPS coordinates to get the exact part. And over the next few days, we'll start gathering that information and confirming its accuracy. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Yeah, in fact, even those numbers I gave you were preliminary, but they're our best estimate at this point. Yeah.
How far approximately is the Gila fire to Castle and Johnson Park?
Okay, how far is the BaldFire from Castle and from Johnson Park? That's something that you probably could see when you come up and look at this map afterwards. This mapping was done based on the infrared data that we had from a flight last night. So just looking at this, I think we're looking at probably roughly 4 to 5 miles. Would that be what you agree with?
Correct, about 4 miles from Johnson Park, approximately, just counting the sections on the map. As we said before, it's at the top of Bernie Mountain. It burned right up to the top of that, so that'll give you a feeling for how far it is to Bernie. Castle, obviously it's burned right up to Highway 89, where it would come across and then continue to Castle. So it's close to Castle, but again, we are in control right now in that part and moving forward with that.
Stopped at 89, or it's crossed?
Correct. It's crossed 89 down below in Hat Creek, obviously, as you can see on the map. But up closer to the Castle side, Castle Road, that's where we have, I can say you haven't been out there, obviously, but we got engines up and down the road there. We're making a stand there. That is huge.
I got another question. What's the possibility that it could get away from you guys and could run down Hat Creek Bridge, the fault line there, and it could get into Castle and it could get into other areas in the Castle area?
Okay, so the question was, what's the possibility that the fire could get away from us, run down the ridge, and get into Castle and those other communities to the north?
There's every possibility that could happen. That is what we're most concerned with thunderstorms. Everybody that lives up here knows the wind blows this way. Comes right out of Bernie towards Fall River, all right? Everybody knows that. That's what it does every day. A thunderstorm takes that and it pushes the fire in every direction when it comes overhead. That's what a thunderstorm does. That's what we're most concerned with. That's why we're trying to lock that in now and make that what we call good black.